What I want to talk to you about is the future of artificial intelligence and kind of my perspective of kind of where I see things going, how you can keep up with artificial intelligence. As you can see, it's progressing really, really fast, and it'll probably continue to progress even faster. And I want to give you a framework to sort of conceptualize how to understand AI and how to understand learning with AI. And so to give you a bit of my background, in addition to the sort of the great introduction, thank you so much. I'm Dylan Adams. I'm a partner and patent attorney at the firm of Davis Wright Tremaine. We're one of those really big law firms. We have over 650 attorneys in offices all up and down the West Coast, on the East Coast as well. My practice is in patent prosecution, which sounds like litigation. I do a bit of litigation, but patent prosecution is a sort of technical term for planning patent portfolios, planning protection for inventions, drafting and filing patent applications, and then working those patent applications through the examination process at the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And so to work with my clients effectively, I need to understand the technology as well, if not better than them. So I have a technical background, including a master's in electrical engineering, undergrad in biochemistry and molecular biology, and I work with clients of all types, whether they be startups, Shark Tank companies, Fortune 100 companies, and a huge variety of technology, although I'd say the core of what I tend to do is related to computers, AI, robotics, software, things like that, but really it runs the gambit. But what I really enjoy doing is working with startups and even larger companies who are new to intellectual property, new to patents, and helping them build bespoke patent portfolios. So the way the patent process works is we have an idea, and then we are going to then decide to draft and file this patent application. And these are really highly technical documents. A lot of times they're going to be 40, 50, 100 pages of technical description and drawings. We file that in the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and then it waits in line for 1 to 3 years. The reason why is it's the government. They're just really behind on everything, and it takes 1 to 3 years before your application gets up to the top of the pile. It starts a negotiation with the examiner then, where what we're trying to do is get the broadest patent scope possible, and then the examiner has to make sure that what you have claimed is new and non-obvious over the prior art. This negotiation, like any negotiation, there's going to be rejections. That's a natural part of it. You go back and forth with the examiner. Sometimes it can be months. Sometimes it can be years. Hopefully the application is allowed at some point. You pay an issue fee, and then the application then issues as a patent. So one of the interesting things about patents is that by default, things are going to be held in secret for at least 18 months and potentially up until the application grants as a patent. So I'm seeing a lot of things, especially my practice related to AI and robotics and software, that isn't going to be coming out for several years. It's in development, or maybe the back end of systems that are being used, but really people don't necessarily know how that's being used. So that's kind of my perspective of where I kind of see AI, and I kind of want to give you a sense of where are we going? Where are we now? And so does anybody know what this is? Anybody? Yes? Close, yes, I think I heard somebody. It's the Apple IIe computer, right? Came out in January of 1983, and for all the computer nerds out there, it had 64K of RAM, right? So I want to impress upon you that with artificial intelligence, we are at this stage right now with artificial intelligence. We are just at the very beginning. And just as much as computers and the internet completely transformed the world and business, and we're going to be seeing those things with artificial intelligence as well. So strap in, get ready, because we're going to see the same sort of transformation. And there's a lot of things that will be happening that we are going to have a hard time even understanding, what's going to be happening, just as much as you see back in the day, back in 1983 when the Apple IIe came out. So what are some things that I'm seeing with artificial intelligence? Obviously, it's going to get a lot smarter. A lot of companies, what they're working towards is artificial general intelligence, or AGI. You may have heard that term. That's what a lot of these companies are focused on. So AI is going to become smarter. Also, new uses, and Ellen touched on this, which was really great, is that right now we have sort of a base. We have these LLMs, we have generative AI, but we still have to do a lot of work with it, and people are incorporating that into a lot of new applications, into new software applications. And so it's actually getting out to users in new forms, in new software apps, things like that. We're going to see that expand a lot. And intelligence and artificial intelligence is going to become more ubiquitous, just as much as we see computing devices around us all the time. We're going to see embedded intelligence in a lot of of common things. Artificial intelligence, being able to interact with these things, that's going to become a lot more common. Also, as Ellen mentioned, AI agents is going to be a big thing. And right now, for those of you who use LLMs, it's sort of a back and forth, right? You have to put in a prompt, you get a response. You put in another prompt, you get a response. Agents, or agentic AI, as it's called, it's going to allow more autonomous action by this artificial intelligence. So you can give it tasks, and maybe it'll think about it for a minute or two, maybe 10 minutes, or maybe it'll actually go off and do things. It can actually accomplish things in the real world. It can talk with other AI agents. It can talk with people, say maybe via email, via text, things like that. Sometimes maybe it'll even take days. It'll be a long-term project that I'll be working on, and maybe it'll kind of pass back to you, say, hey, I have a question about this, or I had a follow-up, so-and-so, their schedule is busy, things like that. It's going to be more interactive. Think about when you work with people via email and you never see them. AI agents are going to be similar to that. Okay, so how do you navigate this world of artificial intelligence when it's changing so much? And I want to kind of get the temperature of folks here and ask you some questions. So who feels like really comfortable with artificial intelligence? Anybody feel like they're a pro user, they're really good at it? Nice, okay, good. And who feels really good about incorporating it into your business or into your personal life? Anybody? Anybody? Good, excellent, okay. And then how about anybody just feel really good about not being replaced by AI, or being, having AI kind of replace your job or make you irrelevant? Anybody feel totally confident that that's not going to happen? Good, excellent, okay. So let me ask you another question then. How many of you have used an LLM before? And this is the example of DeepSeek. Good, so almost everybody's used an LLM. That's excellent, okay? Who would say that they use an LLM maybe on at least once a month? Okay. And then, so of those people, who is using it probably at least once a week? At least once a week using LLMs. Great, okay. How about at least once a day? Okay, and then of using it once a day, who's using it probably like at least once an hour on average, especially during the business day? At least once an hour? Nobody's using it at least once an hour? Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay. Here's what I want to press upon you, is that you don't need to be worried about being replaced by AI. You need to be worried about being replaced by the people who are using LLMs and other AI on a regular basis. Like the folks who had their hands up, who said they're using it on a daily basis, those are the people you need to be concerned about replacing you. It's not AI that's to be concerned about. It's the people who know how to use artificial intelligence. Okay? So let me ask you another quick question here. So you got Google Translate. How do you get to the main menu on Google Translate? Anybody? How do you get to the menu? Throw out a guess.
Google Translate.
Yeah, okay. Well, so to get to the main menu, what you do is there's the little bars over there. You click on that, a little menu pops up, right? And to a lot of people, like, that's kind of intuitive. You'd be able to hack around and you'd be able to find that. But being able to do that, you're building on a lot of information that you know about graphic user interfaces, about computers, things like that. And as a result, you see it as intuitive, but there's a lot of stuff going on that you've built knowledge on that got you there. Okay, so I like to use the analogy with my practice. So what allows me to understand new technology that's coming out, that is cutting edge, that has never been seen before, or new areas of technology that I'm not immediately familiar with, I have to understand the language of science, of computers, of math, of engineering. I have to understand those languages so I can adapt and understand new things that come out. And what I want to challenge you to do is learn the language of artificial intelligence. And by that I mean become comfortable with it. Just like you'd be able to figure out how to find the menu on Google Translate because you've done those things, right? Those things are seemingly intuitive. You need to make artificial intelligence part of your daily routine so that you can then build on that as things change and things grow. And it's fairly simple. I want to give you some basic steps here. It's working through these things every single day, taking baby steps, and it's something that you just need to make part of your natural routine. If you don't do that, you're going to have to be like this guy, and you're going to have to catch up really, really quickly. Instead of taking baby steps, you're going to have to catch up super fast, and you're going to have to leap up, a whole flight of stairs instead of taking small steps. And I'm sure you've seen people like this who they didn't really learn computers and they didn't learn how to use the internet, and then they're kind of left behind. You don't want to be that person, because a lot of those people, they're never going to be able to keep up, okay? So what do you do? Here's a good place to start. So for those of you who aren't using LLMs on a regular basis, start with something like this. These are some great examples. And the good thing about artificial intelligence like this is it's free. It's not like computers back in the day where you'd have to invest in expensive hardware. All these things are completely free. And for me, I don't have any paid subscriptions yet. I use all free stuff. And so there's no excuse to say, well, I can't afford it. You can learn about artificial intelligence and incorporate it into your daily workflow totally for free. Okay, so what can you do? I mean, the first thing is just experiment with it. Try it out. Try using it in your workflow. Experiment with, say, hey, what if I want to do this analysis with documents? Or, only you can know about your work and how to adapt LLMs to it. But once you kind of get that basics, then think about prompting. Prompting is the new language of interacting with artificial intelligence. So it used to be web searches, like the people who could do really good Google searches or who could search through documents. Those people were the power users of, say, the internet, and the people who are really effective. Prompting is the way that you are going to become the power user of artificial intelligence. And Ellen really talked about this well, that a lot of times it's human error. People say, oh, AI doesn't work really well. And people, just like people say, oh, the computers don't work really well. Usually it's human error. Prompting is as much of an art as it is a science. And the only way you're going to get good at it is by trying it out every day, working with these things. I still feel like I'm way behind on prompting, even though I do it all the time, and I probably would say I'm probably using it on an hourly basis to do various things. Also, try new uses as well. People think about, generative AI can create pictures or it can write poems, but those are not the things that you're going to be using it for in your daily workflow or in your personal life. Experiment with new uses, and the more you use it, you're going to realize, hey, there's a lot of interesting creative things that I can do that can make me more efficient, both personally and with my job. Also, try out new features that come out with artificial intelligence. Again, Ellen touched on this. Things like the deep learning or the deep research, where the LLM will actually sort of think. It's going to iteratively go back and say, hey, here's what the user is asking. Here's how I want to actually address this. Maybe I'll go and I'll do some research. Along with that is sort of the web search version. Perplexity, and now ChatGPT has a web search version. Play around with those things. Again, you just need to understand these things that are coming out now so that when things inherently change at a rapid pace, you'll understand the baseline of things and you can build on that scaffolding and understand new AI as it comes out. So that's my time. Thank you, and look forward to your questions for the rest of the session. Thanks.